Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast, episode 435. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Yep.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners, to episode 435 of the Moviecast. We have a action-packed episode for you today. I say that because we were doing our top 5 action movies. Individually, we will compile a list and try to make a consensus top 5 for the All You Can Geek cast. Now, this it made it easier, Corey. Now, I didn't make this as an exclusion. You didn't have to do this, but we did leave martial arts movies off my list. I know Corey did, and I think Tony did as well, because the list was so hard to build that it was like.
I also left off comic book movies, but
okay. I went like pure like action movies in my head. That's really what I went.
I did to an extent.
Almost. Mike should be interesting. But first let's get into what we've been up to. I'll kick us off because I got to the movies. I got to see Alita.
Bastard.
Wow. Yeah. So visually, that movie is amazing in my opinion. It's really well done, especially because you're mixing in CG characters like crazy, and it's like you're like, oh, you don't hardly notice it. They did a great job with that. You said there was no explanation for her eyes, but they're kind of.
I said there are, but it's really kind of weird. Yeah, they don't explain it; they just show you.
They just show you why. So I got that part, and I definitely I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. Christoph Waltz he's incredible. Like, he's a great actor. I think he can single-handedly pick a movie up. I think if it's not that this was a bad movie, but I think he can elevate people that are around him. That's the kind of actor I think he is. So I really enjoyed it.
I really was hoping that they do the anime eyeglass thing, with like the light.
See, I never saw the anime. So I didn't see this anime. So this is new to me, this whole story. So for me, I was, looking forward to seeing this because I know it's very popular anime, and I like anime. So it's like, this is going to be perfect. But
passion project of James Cameron's.
And it's
for like over a decade. I mean, I remember. Even before Avatar was out, I remember.
It's like right after Titanic.
It was like James Cameron's like, I want to make a movie with Battle Angel Alita, and like me and Nerd, I'm like, okay, James Cameron, yeah, sure, like thumbs up, buddy, like I'll wait for that. I mean, it took like 2 decades.
Hold my breath.
It took like 2 decades, but you delivered,
Yeah.
So,
it was good. It was good. I think I'm looking forward to see if they can make more.
China might save it.
I hope very much now. So I enjoyed that
too. James Cameron has so much bank. It's like he could be like, "Hey, I'm not making Avatar or whatever unless I get Battle Angel Alita too." So, So, sorry, I got thrown off with a wrestling text I just got. Sorry. Ooh, wrestling. Let me go then. I went to the movies too.
Oh, you did?
I did not see Battle Angel Alita, but I actually saw Fighting with My Family.
I wanted to see that.
Nice. I had zero interest in it. I didn't even know what this movie was about.
How did you end up seeing this?
My friend Alex, who we went to see Justice League with,
back
in the day, she was like, "Hey, my boyfriend and I are going to see Fighting with My Family in King of Prussia, and we know, I live in there." She's like, "You want to come see it?" I was like, it was one of those things where like I haven't really hung out with her like outside of work because she works with me. And I haven't seen her boyfriend in a while, so I was like, you know what? Like, okay, I'll just be social and stuff like that. Because I had zero interest in the movie. But I got to say, like, that was actually a good movie.
It was fun.
It was fun. There was actually some drama in there. Like,
I'm sure.
I'm like, oh, like, I didn't expect to feel anything like today. Like, oh, this is weird. What is this? I think the story was well done. I think if you're a wrestling fan, definitely watch it. If you're a rock fan, he has some moments, which is funny. Surprisingly enough, Vince Vaughn was in this, and I'm like, damn, Vince Vaughn, like,
Vince Vaughn
is crazy.
I heard that he plays very similar characters in like that Hawksaw Ridge movie.
Oh, okay, yes,
he's like a drill sergeant there,
Yeah, he's the coach.
He's like very quippy, and like
the
insults keep coming.
He's Vince Vaughn, but to a serious role, but he's still Vince Vaughn. That's the kind of thing they can compare it to. Yeah,
it's so funny, but like. Seeing him, like he's really old now, or at least he looks older. Like I'm it's on like age has not been.
I think he looks like he got tired, right?
I think
like,
he aged a little better than Jon Favreau, though.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So that movie gets Simon Pegg and Nick Frost back together, right?
Mhm.
They're back in not Simon
Nick
Pegg.
Frost is. I don't know Simon Pegg was.
I think Simon Pegg's in that movie. You know who Simon Pegg is, Tony?
No.
That's Scotty
Shaun of
from
the
the new
Dead?
Star Trek, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yes.
He's in that,
Yeah.
right?
I
They
believe
get
so.
them back in that together. Those two are like
I believe
buddies.
so.
And they're I just love when they're in the movie together. But I know he's not like a major part of the movie. But
Lena, what's her name? Cersei from Game of Thrones. She's in it as well.
Headley.
Headley.
Yeah, Headley.
Yeah, she's in it.
Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor. Yeah. So
The TV show.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So
By
I
the
want
way,
to go see that actually.
Vince Vaughn is 48 years old.
Yeah.
Almost
He
49.
looks a little older than that.
Yeah, I think he looks closer to 60. No offense to him, but
Really?
yeah, I've seen him.
I mean, I saw clips of this movie. He didn't look that old
Doesn't
in the
look-
commercials.
60. I don't know. I mean,
I think he looks
I
close
don't know,
to
man.
60.
Just seeing him on the
I think
big
it's
screen and just like
high
see his face.
50s.
Like maybe that's like maybe they don't want to go for like a lot of makeup and stuff. It's just like comparing. I don't even know the last movie I saw with him in it, but it's just like damn, dude, like like Dodgeball was like what, a decade ago? It's like
probably like 25 years now, or 15 years by
Was
now.
Dodgeball really?
Dodgeball's
Oh, yeah.
probably about 15 years. I think that was
Yeah,
like
okay,
a
maybe it's
high school movie. for
Towards the
me.
beginning of it's like the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah.
2004.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
15
yeah,
years.
15 years.
There you go.
But I don't know. I know that
That's cool.
he gained some weight in the past and lost it, so
Yeah.
that can age.
Right,
you.
I mean,
Yeah.
Speaking to the movie though, like, I actually am very curious to see
Yeah.
how they
Vince
changed
Vaughn,
the story. I've seen all the documentaries on Page and stuff, so I wonder how they make it more.
Didn't she have like a real short career?
Well, unfortunately, it's not. Yeah, it's an
That's what I was curious
unfortunate
about if
shame.
they touch on that in the movie too, because it's obviously
I've got to guess they do.
they might have like a little text at the end, like her career ends, and who knows?
She never wrestled again. That'd be
Yeah,
horrible.
exactly. So I mean, we talked about sad things earlier, Jim.
Sam
I
Beckett
know.
never went home.
what happened to her? Because I'll spoil it. This
She gets
in the movie.
she gets a blow to the head that
She
causes
basically like
surgery.
she
Spine
couldn't
surgery.
stand up, and they were afraid that she would be paralyzed for life
Yeah.
if she gets another hit.
Oh,
It was a errant who did that? Was it Sasha?
Banks.
Yeah, Sasha Banks did it. It was an errant swing and actually connected.
No, she kicked her in the back of the
Oh, she
neck,
kicked it back. That's right. Yeah, I'm thinking about the other girl that got punched.
and
in
then
the
she
face.
like couldn't stand up, and basically now her career's over at 26.
They had to stop the match in the middle of the match. It's like a crazy video.
okay. I see what you're saying now. Yeah. I mean, I would say watch the movie.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, she's got a very interesting life. From
Yeah.
the doc, because there is actually like a documentary on her life and stuff,
Yeah.
which they think they basically off of a little bit.
Yeah, I think during the credits it actually showed probably footage from that
Oh,
documentary because like there was stuff that like
Yeah.
I guess is her like actual.
What's
stuff.
funny is like usually you get these actors and they're like much more attractive than like the real people. I have to say it's kind of like the opposite here. I think that
Yeah, it's
the real
funny 'cause,
person
like-
is much more attractive.
I mean, she's the actress they got. She's pretty, but
She's
like,
fine, yeah.
when they got to like the end reel and they're like showing the actual documentary, first of all, her debut match was like she was basically wearing a bikini. I was like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. And like her body was like, damn, like they did not emphasize that at all in the movie. It's like
Mhm.
it's like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
That's
So,
it for me.
Mike, how about you?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. Corey, how about you?
I watched a lot actually this week. For one, I watched and completed the whole thing of Russian Doll
Oh yeah.
on Netflix, which is like a
Oh my god, I forgot.
it's basically a Groundhog's Day kind of thing, but there's hints to it's not
Exactly. the
things
same.
are still going on. So like what happens though is it's not that the days reset at the end of the day, it resets when she dies.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw preview for this or something.
So it was really interesting. So like it kind of starts off slow, but then once like she starts dying, it's like it's much more interesting. But so she dies and then she resets back to this moment. But little things start changing each time she goes back.
Okay.
And so it's just the exploration of that, and then something happens midway through where you find out that she might not be alone in that.
Okay.
Interesting. Is this
So
a series or is this a movie?
It's a series. I think it's only like 10 episodes, I think,
Okay.
and they're half hour each.
Oh,
So
cool. I still gotta watch
it's-
that other one. The
Umbrella Academy.
I'm
Yeah,
5
Umbrella Academy.
episodes in on that now.
Oh,
which would you
okay.
say is worth watching more though? Umbrella. Or...
I mean, I like the Umbrella Academy much better than
I'm-
the Russian Doll is really good.
Okay.
I'm very much enjoying Umbrella Academy right now. I'm 5 episodes in.
Oh,
It
really,
just,
Jim?
It just hooked.
Really? Didn't you cancel your Netflix?
Yeah, no, I went past it by 4 days. So yeah, it just hooked me. The last 2 episodes just like hooked.
Yeah. And like that Nathan guy, whatever. I don't even know his real name. It's
Yeah,
the Klaus.
he's
Klaus
number
kid.
4. He's number
Misfits.
4. I just know him as number 4. But yeah,
He's hilarious in this.
yeah,
and
he's-
also like the Hazel and Cha Cha. Like I think the Hazel guy is really good in this too.
yeah,
But in any case, yeah. So
it's good.
Russian Doll, I definitely recommend. It's got like a really neat video gamey-esque tie into it as well. It's kind of.
Cool.
And then I also started watching Lucifer because I was kind of like looking for like a procedural thing that I could just watch. And,
I've seen a couple episodes of that. It's interesting, actually.
and yeah, I really got into that too. I was like, whoa, it reminds me a lot of The Mentalist, which I really like The Mentalist. And so it's the same idea where like these, authority figure, police, FBI people meet a civilian consultant who's got unique skill set, so to speak. And with Lucifer, it's funny because they throw in
You
the
say a
whole,
particular set of skills.
heavenly or devilish in this case. And it's interesting because it is based off of a character from the Sandman comic.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So it's loosely based off a comic book, and they actually the episode of Supernatural was kind of a driving inspiration for this because of there's a line in it where one of the characters says, if the devil ever came to Earth, he'd move to LA and solve crime. And that's basically what happens here.
That's great. That's funny.
Yep.
All right, cool.
The actor they got for that is really, I think it's like spot on. It's like,
He is
like,
fantastic.
It's like I guess if there was a human version of Lucifer, this would be that guy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He does the whole like charming, devilish like thing spot on. So
Cool
good stuff.
Anything else?
Other than those two things have been taking up most of my time. So when I say watch a lot of those
that
things.
stuff. Okay. All right, cool. All right, let's get in the box office. Box office is number 1, How to Train Your Dragon. 55 million it brought in, which for it is, I think, a record, if I
I think
remember
it's
right.
a record, and also I think it's second highest animated movie during February.
Yep,
Okay.
I saw that. Yep, I did see that. Yeah, very well. Oh, very good opening. Alita at 12.3 was number 2. Again, that was possibly saved by China for its haul. I mean, in Japan, it's tracking very well in Japan.
Yeah.
China did like debuted at 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should hit over 100.
It should be okay. And then, like I said, Japan's the word of mouth there is huge right now. So
It's just a lot of fun, that movie. It's so much fun.
it is.
I'm seeing it this weekend. I swear to God, seeing it this weekend.
It's not like a mind-blowing story or anything.
I don't understand this. Is I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now, and it says 59%. Which, if it's 59%, it should be certified fresh, right?
No, I thought it was at 60.
Oh, is it 60? I thought it was above 50. I'm sorry. I thought it was above 50.
No, it's not a 50-50 thing. It's
Okay.
It's gone up and down several times. It's
Okay.
like, you're fresh and you're not fresh.
Okay. No certification for it. Lego Movie 2 is at 4. Fighting with My Family is 5.
That's done. Lego Movie 2 is done now. Now that How to
Yeah.
Train Your Dragon
Yeah.
3 or How to Train Your Dragon 3.
And Isn't It Romantic is 5.
Yeah, Lego is 3 actually.
Yeah, I said that. Lego 3. And Fighting with My Family 4.
You didn't say that, but whatever.
What was 5 again?
Isn't It Romantic?
Oh, Isn't It Romantic? Yeah. All right.
So there's your box office.
Anything come out this week? Or
Tyler Perry's got another movie.
Automatic 30 at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking because I have a free. I was going to go Saturday morning, but maybe I'll go see Lego Movie 2 if it's still playing.
it should be. I can't imagine it's not playing still.
I'll probably go see that.
I think I want to see that this week too.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Lego Movie?
Yeah. Awesome. So let's get into the news.
Yes,
let's see
Tony,
what
yes.
I know, it wasn't for you.
Let's see. Quick bit of news we've got. Oh, last week we mentioned our like movies we'd like to see rebooted. So I thought this would be funny to see news that they talked about Gremlins, the animated TV show, is in the works for Warner's new streaming service they're working on.
Didn't someone say specifically they didn't want to see Gremlins rebooted?
I said that I didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
didn't
thought it was
care for
interesting
it.
that they're working on something
I
animated.
would root against it, but I just didn't care to see it come
Yeah.
back. I wasn't a fan.
This is a list of reboots here. Knight Rider. David Hasselhoff is teasing that it might be coming back with him.
Okay.
What if he did the voice? Oh wait, him as like the actual
Michael Knight. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's weird. See, I would actually like it if it was a new one and he actually was the voice of the computer or whatever like that.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
I wouldn't like. He's.
You need to be more deadpan, I think. But
I mean, you need to be like erudite with that voice, and like.
Wait,
not,
No,
wait.
I want a new voice. I don't want some Siri bullshit. Like
Weird twist
No,
here.
you want
Weird twist.
Mr. Feeney, which is who the original
I've
voice
got
was.
a better twist for you all. The car was actually at one point a living person. So now when he is voicing Kit, it's Michael Knight's voice because it's him is car AI now.
Maybe that'll
turned
happen.
into a person?
Maybe in the
He's
first
into
episode,
the car. He
he, like-
loaded in the AI. It's his
oh,
brain.
right,
No,
okay,
yeah.
in
right.
the car.
maybe in the first episode that's what it is, and he dies. He's old. He does
Yeah.
something and dies, and goes into the car. And
And there you go.
Voice
I'm
over-
waiting for the Knight
voice over
Rider.
the rest of it.
Wait for the Knight Rider Transformers collaboration after we get
Yeah.
the Ghostbusters one.
I put this on here because it's good news for wrestling fans and everybody. Roman Reigns, the guy who plays him, Joe, I forget his last name, is now leukemia free. He's in remission. So that was
Oh
posted.
yeah,
like,
and I think we talked about that. Right?
yeah, we did. And he announced yesterday that it's back in remission. So he was like crying and in the ring last night. So it was a very powerful moment. And like everybody was like mentioning it. ESPN had an article about it. I mean, it was everywhere.
And he's going to be in the Hobbs and Shaw movies.
Yeah,
So.
that was my first instinct that he was on the mend. I was like, well, if he's shooting movies, he might be getting better here. So good for him. Let's see. Oh, we have Kevin Feige opened up. The Promise for Disney Plus. It's all connected. That's what it was. I was like, what is this news I'm reading? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So he has an opportunity finally with Disney Plus to really make good on this.
Well, I mean, they are getting the actors to play the characters from the movie.
Yeah, but there's still some people that were like, well, it doesn't mean anything. So,
well, that's
okay. I wasn't naming names. I was just saying there were some people.
They finally confirmed the actors. There was a reason they had to do that because people weren't sure yet.
The first time they ever announced it, they said they got Tom Middleton and they got what's her name for
Elizabeth Olsen.
Scarlet Witch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was not what they said as soon as they
announced that show. 100%.
It was not. They didn't say that.
100%.
What was said actually on the announcement.
100%.
Those guys were playing. They were
That's
playing.
What I mean, I thought we discussed is that these shows were coming and they were being produced with the actors.
I didn't mean to call you out, Mike, but I know that you were the one that mentioned it. So I'm like, we can talk about this because I wasn't mentioning it negatively, but I know that you are the one that was saying that you didn't think that they were going to be connected.
I didn't say that. I said they just.
You also have a little belief that you're going to be connected.
I think we'll have prequels for dead characters if that's connected. That's fine if you accept that, but
I don't think you're going to see Loki's dead permanently.
Yes, he is. They're going to keep him dead, especially with this.
No, in comic books, nobody dies. You know that.
He does, though.
You know that. Come on.
He comes back too.
I think if any of them are permanently dead, I think it's him.
He could be permanently dead, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has to take place after Avengers. I mean, so first of all, they have a get out of jail free card because this is after Infinity.
I think they're all prequels.
It could be a prequel too, but either way, like I don't understand why we're arguing about this. It's such a dumb point. Like
I don't know, people want. I don't care, but whatever, fine.
Anyway,
no, this is good for Kevin Feige because finally he can get out. You know, this is like his. To me, this is his last like middle finger to fucking Perlmutter because. He was, the one that was just like, fuck you. Like, I mean, I don't know if people remember, like, Feige threatened to quit because of Perlmutter. He was like, I'm done with all this.
This guy is ridiculous. Like, the thing with the toys and stuff, and removing Black Widow from her bike scene to Iron Man. Like, are you kidding?
It's like, all right, like, whatever. It's so dumb. But, I think now he's going to get control of, obviously the Marvel stuff for Disney Plus. So, I mean, it's just good news. And all we got to do is get that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. converted over, and we'll be good.
Yeah. That would be cool. And I think we could still.
I stalled on that show again.
Yeah, that's all right. Some things aren't for everybody. They're not for everybody. All right. What else do we have? And the Detective Pikachu trailer came out today.
Yep.
Wow.
Pikachu says hell in this movie.
Yes.
Just getting that out there if you haven't watched the trailer.
And Mewtwo looks freaking scary.
Yeah, he does.
Maybe not as much as the mime. That thing looks fucking weird.
Yeah.
Well, scary as in like in a good way, or scary as in like, oh man, this is not going to be good.
No,
scary?
like it's weird to see them in like their live action form, like as close to if they were real as possible. And
well, that's always been the case. Is like I remember there was a couple popular artist series, or where like people like come up with like a concept, and they're like, if Pokemon were real, and like you just see these designs, you're like, holy shit, like this actually would be terrifying in real life. Like
that's what I'm getting. I'm getting the vibe from the mind like that. If that thing like spoke, I'd freak out and run away. You
just be like, hi guys.
Well, I think it's funny because Mewtwo already is a little bit more of a more serious design, I think, than like 99% of Pokemon anyway. So he's already like kind of weird amongst them.
Fighting machines. So, but yeah, it was a good trailer. I can't wait for this movie. Actually, like it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like like it's going to be the perfect summer movie, like popcorn flick. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And I think it's coming out end of May, so
end of May, yeah.
It'll be good because it'll be away from the Avengers stuff, and I think before the June onslaught. I mean, I think June's where it really kicks up, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've actually spread it out okay, except for I think June's nuts. But
June, I thought was the most.
May is more spread out than normal, and April because they moved things from May into April, I think, and that's why. So
move the fuck out of the way of Avengers.
All right, that's it for news.
Okay,
so we've got our topic of the night is top 5 action movies for us.
Okay.
Let me get my list together so I can keep track of this stuff.
All right. Start from Mike. Number 5.
We're going to start with number 5. Mike, kick us off.
My number 5 is Terminator 2.
All right.
Top 5. Okay. Made number 5.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Terminator fan, and this might be the only movie I really watched most of in the franchise.
Well, you didn't have to put it on the list if you didn't like it.
One of the saddest scenes too.
But no, I mean, I liked it because it stood out to me as like just good action, like beyond the fact that like I'm not into like the franchise, but like I appreciated that like the chase scene, the police station scene, like the at the time crazy like CGI with the whatever
T-1000.
and then the final scene with the lava and stuff. Like it was just good action. There was a helicopter, I think, too. It's a good action movie, and it sort of personifies like that sort of 90s action movie like aesthetic to me. So I really like that.
Okay, cool. Corey, you're number 5.
Oh man, this is really hard.
Yeah, it was a rough list.
And like, cause
sounds like you're still finalizing it.
No, well, it's like, is Kill Bill a martial arts film or is it an action film?
If
you want to look at it as, I mean, I personally would classify more as a martial arts.
And that's what I was thinking too. But when I mean my martial arts list, I didn't put Kill Bill on it, and I forgot about it. I was like, wait, now I'm making my action movie list. I'm like, So
I mean,
I'm not going to
throw it here. I'm not going
to do it. I'm just going to throw it out there. I just wanted to say Kill Bill needed some
honorable mention.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, honestly, the
Predator is my number 5.
Okay, Predator. The Raid would be on all of our lists except for Mike, who hasn't seen it, but it would have made our top 5 list, I believe, right?
So Predator.
If we include that, yeah. So
I just like I love that
Predator,
one on many type of thing, and just like the
memorable lines.
Yeah, it's like again,
if it bleeds, we could kill it.
Exactly. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. Yeah, it's so many classic one-liners in that movie.
So I mean, it's great, and the monster, and it's fantastic. It's just a really great action movie, in my opinion. So
it just is.
Arnold's gonna show up a few times.
It was tough to not put that on my list. Mine started off with Jason with Bourne Identity.
Yeah, I can't be Bourne.
I wanted to actually put The Last Action Hero is one of those parody on action. I mean, seriously, it's such a crazy good movie.
I will never forget when he like punches the window and goes, "Ow!"
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my number 7 is True Lies. So
that's good.
I
too.
love True Lies, dude.
That was good too. Yeah. So it was really tough to put this list together. I made a list of 10, and I was like, well, how do I get to 5? And then Corey said, "Oh, no martial arts movies," and I'm like, "That's a good idea." So the Raid was crossed off, and then it was like Lethal Weapon. That's a good movie, but I'm like, is it as good as
That was
Jason
almost
Bourne.
it.
Yeah, I don't think it holds up.
Yeah, so that's why I put Bourne. So Jason Bourne was one of those movies I had known nothing about when I went to saw it in the theaters, and I watched it. I'm like, this is incredible. It had that John Wick vibe, almost. Maybe John Wick appears later. That's why I'm saying almost. But yeah, so for me, that's number 5. Tony.
All right.
For me, my number 5 was Gladiator. I'm not the biggest like Russell Crowe. I know, dude. Like, I'm not the biggest Russell Crowe fan, but like, I don't know. That movie was just, I thought, really well done. I think it doesn't like overly, because that was early 2000s, right?
Yeah,
maybe like
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it was just such a really good movie. I didn't think like they overly relied on like CGI or anything too much, because I know that's when like people started to get really super into CGI. And it had a really good story, some interesting twists and stuff like that, and just like, you know,
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, are you not entertained? Like, it's like a memorable moment. Like, you know, it's
exactly year 2000. It is.
Yeah,
it's just so good. And like, you know, spoiler, it's one of those ones where it's like the hero wins, but he also loses. You know,
that was like that movie is the movie, like, for those wondering, to test a sound system out. That is the movie to play a sound system on. So yeah, is that good?
Another really good one like that, like, which I think is in that same vein, would be Braveheart, which I didn't put on my list either, but that same type of.
The problem with Braveheart for me and Gladiator is they're both very long, so it's like
absolutely. They're like these epics, and like I was trying not to put like war movies on either. I considered.
I didn't mind the war movie part, but war movie would be okay. I don't even know if maybe I did. No, I didn't.
Like Saving Private Ryan was there as well, and I was like, not gonna do it.
Yeah. So, all right,
I want like action, like fun action is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Mike, you're number 4.
My number 4. What did I do here? Okay. GoldenEye. GoldenEye for me is one of my favorite.
On the games cast too. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. GoldenEye for me though is one of my favorite movies overall. The reason why it's not higher on this list is there's some like kind of iffy green screen and like model work as far as the action goes.
Now it's real obvious.
But it starts out with then at the time record-setting like stunt with that bungee jump. You have the St. Petersburg tank scene. You have him jumping off the cliff into the with the plane. There's just a lot of iconic action moments in this movie, and of course different locales and stuff that makes it, like, I think, the best action James Bond movie of all time. So to me, it's number 4
I enjoyed
for all
that,
those
though.
reasons.
For sure. I'm a genius,
So you listed. Let me get. Wait, you listed a James. Never mind. I don't want to start an argument with this, but
let's go on. Let's move on. Just move on.
I have no problem with putting Bond.
I have no problem putting a Bond movie on there, but you did you complain about Daniel Craig for? I'm sorry.
Let's move on. Number 4. Number 4. Go.
No, that's
my
not
number
like
4
Daniel Craig.
is, guys, is my number 4 is The Matrix.
Oh, okay. That's a great one. It was on my
It
list
is,
too.
but I put it on martial arts, so I left it out on this one.
I just have so many guns in it.
I couldn't remember.
But it's gun fu, man. It's gun fu. That was the first introduction to gun fu for Westerners. That's what it was, man.
For the record, another movie that almost made my list, it was in my top 10, was Equilibrium, and I kind of left that off because that literally is gun.
That is gun fu. Yeah.
They fight with guns.
I put The Matrix on it because I felt like it is more of an action movie because of the guns and the stunts and the whole that whole aspect of it and the cyberpunkiness of it. And I just felt there's just the sequence in it of action, just like pure action, just that when they get to that
rooftop,
the lobby,
the lobby, when he walks through that metal detector, that's such a great sequence.
Such a great sequence. It still holds.
Just that sequence alone makes it like a top 5 action movie for me.
If I didn't have that exclusion, it would have made my list harder, but it would have been up there. It's definitely.
It's in my top 10. I crossed it off because of Corey's comment. I didn't remember if we put it on our fighting list. That's why I crossed mine off.
I did not. So
no,
I don't.
All right, Tony.
I did.
You're number 4. Wait, did I go?
No, you didn't. Go ahead.
Terminator 2 is my number 4.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, because Mike talked about it. It's one of those iconic action movies. I needed a representation for Arnold Schwarzenegger on my list. I needed it, and it was Predator's really good too, but Terminator is the movie that I feel like if it's on TV, you put it on, you just leave it on. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but it can just be on while you do stuff. It's just that kind of movie. It's like perfect for an action movie, and it's great. So, Tony, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Inception. which
yes,
yeah, it's just I thought about that, and it probably isn't like what I would jump to the top of many right traditional action, but like it's like
action,
sci fantasy action. I mean, it's just such a cool concept. Like, I mean, I remember like it was one of those movies that is very distinct. It has some awesome sequences, especially with like the rotating hotel fight scene. Like that was just awesome.
That's the first sequence that comes to mind.
They actually built that in a giant barrel, and they rotating that.
Like the X-Men movie, because of like I think when First Class was coming out, there's a whole sequence with that. Like they were like scrapped because they couldn't do it as well.
Yeah, and it's just so awesome. Like if you have the Blu-ray or the DVD, like definitely check out the extras. Like, I mean, that's so ridiculous. To like, hey. Like, just imagine all the falling, the fighting that they're doing, like, to train for that. I mean, how do you train for that, even as, like, an actor or a stunt double? It's just crazy. Yeah. But just, like, the stuff that happens, like, it's part, like, heist. It's part, like, gun. Like, I don't know. It's just hard to describe. It's just a really awesome blend. It's very unique. And the story, from action movies, as far as action movies goes, I think it's really awesome. Definitely a thought-provoking one. It's one of those movies.
Oh, well, I mean, the ending alone had people talking for, like, years.
And like even like just pop culture references, it's like it's actually like got a brother dream, and it's like damn, like dream within a dream, stuff like that. So really good.
Cool. All right. Let's see where were we. Cool. Mike, your number 3.
My number 3. I tried to exclude this type of movie, but I changed my mind because this is just of all the iconic action scenes, and I chose The Dark Knight.
All right.
I chose a dark. I think it's probably it sort of transcends. I think superhero movies as far as action scenes goes. We start with that like break into like I don't know where was it, like Japan?
Bank.
No, not even the bank that starts it. But I'm talking about when
China. When he grabs the guy.
Yeah, when he grabs the guy, like that was a crazy scene. I thought with the sky hook and all that stuff. And again, like it's mostly practical stuff, which is why I rank it higher than like pretty much any other superhero movie. Which I think they normally rely too much on CGI. But you have the practical truck flip. You've got that scene in the beginning. You've got the mostly practical tumbler chase.
Joker too.
Yeah, there was just a lot of stuff going on there, and I just think it's one of the best action movies I've seen, and I think it's the best action in a superhero movie.
Yeah, no, I didn't include that in my list because I think superheroes are a different category also.
Yeah, I think we will have to tackle that list at some point. All right, Corey, what's your number 3?
All right, number 3 is Aliens. James Cameron, baby.
That's my number 2, so I'll just go with you.
Okay. You can start So I mean that movie is probably one of my favorite movies in general of like all time, let alone like action movies. And good the way that they approach the sequels, like everything I ever wanted. Like this monster is so cool, we never see it, and now we get to see so much of it. And like, what do you do when you have like these hordes and hordes of enemies? Like whenever
it's
like,
definitely a way to up. It's definitely a way to up a sequel.
It's like kind of like James Cameron basically built the way to make a good sequel, or make a sequel. It's like the rules, like bigger, more, badder, like more dangerous, more stakes, everything. So it's like
you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
It's like everything's in this, and you just do it so well. And the villain being the aliens, which is not even like the real villain, like the human villain in this, is just like so creepy. And the way they do that in the story with Newt and Sigourney Weaver's character. Oh my god, what's her name?
Ripley.
Thank you, Ripley. It's like it's such a good like dynamic, and then obviously with the the sergeant or the lieutenant, who's also in Terminator. But it's such a good movie, and the action is just awesome. Yeah, like, those moments, like it's just like the beep with the sonar.
They're so iconic. Like so iconic. Dude. I mean, the thing is, for me, I rank Alien as one of the top horror movies of all time. It's sci-fi horror, but it's still horror. And I would still classify Aliens as horror, but to me, it was more action horror. But I think that's great because, like you're saying, like it's just bigger and better. I mean, just the concept, like for someone who watched Alien, you're like, wow, just one alien took out this entire ship of fucking people with like little to no resistance, and it's just like now you're going on a planet that has hundreds, if not maybe thousands, who knows? Like we don't know. And that was the scary part. And then this time around, you had trained like aren't like soldiers,
Marines,
Marines to fight these people, and it's just like they're effective for a little bit, but then they just start getting picked off, and like I remember like game over, man, game over.
Oh,
and,
game
like,
over.
Just even when like they're coming up like from underneath the grates and stuff, and just calling them down, it's like, yeah, your weapons can do good, but like they just have the sheer numbers, and like. To me, you know, one of my favorite games of all time is StarCraft, and like you could definitely see like how the Zerg, you know, are descended from that alien thing, which is like just number. It's a pure numbers game. It's like, sure, go ahead, like you can use weaponry, but like you're just gonna exactly, you're just gonna overwhelm. You're gonna run out of ammo. You're gonna run out of food. Something just like we'll just outright. And like you said, iconic sequences.
Turns like a character kind of, which is interesting. Turns kind of like a weak female character in both the original films, like Terminator and Alien, and then turns into like super badass in the sequels. It's like
absolutely, because like the thing is, like in the first one, Ripley she was smart. I mean, she was so brave, but she was smart. In this one, she's just like, it's like fuck these motherfuckers. It's
Get
like,
away from her, you bitch.
Yeah, I know, and like even like. I just love how this movie expanded that like lore content, whatever you want to call it, because it's like you say, oh, it's just an alien, and like this is like, oh, it introduces the concept of like they're the queen, like like a queen, and like they like or like what I forget the term they use, but like they take on aspects of like whatever the face huggers, you know, stuff like that, and they just spawn like this entire like universe, which unfortunately, in my opinion, has not been truly realized since the original trilogy. And I'm dying.
Even with it's like it was going downhill with that movie.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
So how do you kill like your two favorite? These two, like,
right? Yeah, it's such a God. But it's I truly wish the series can like reach those heights again someday.
Yeah. My number 3 was to be honest. While we're doing this list, just so you know, my 1 and 2 in my mind are fighting with each other right now. Which it's like if I look away on things, it's because I'm constantly trying to decide if that's the order that I want to list these two movies in. But anyways, John Wick is number 3 for me.
Okay.
It's one of those action movies that, again, for me, watchability for memorable action movies, and I've rewatched that movie I don't know how many times already. It's like, it's fantastic. The sequel of it is a true sequel to, like, a good sequel to a movie. Like, you're afraid they're going to screw it up, and they haven't. And I can't wait for 3. And so, like, John Wick was the first one to set that off, and it's just so surprising how good that movie was, because it's, I was thinking Keanu Reeves action movie. I don't know anything about. I'm like,
Where he's doing Gut Fu?
Yeah. I'm just like, And then I heard it was good. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. I'm like, oh shit, this is really good.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy. I went blind to that because, like, I remember you guys mentioning on the podcast, and then one day I was just hanging out with Happy. He's like, and like I saw like he had just gotten John Wick 2 on Blu-ray or whatever like that, and I was like, oh, is this any good? He's like, you've never seen John Wick? And I was like, nope. He's like, we're watching it. So we put on the first one. And like I was like so he's like, we're watching the second one then? I'm like, yeah, we're watching these back to back. I just like did that one day.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. So that was my number 3. Mike, what's your number 2?
My number 2, and mine also go back and forth. My number 2 is...
You skipped my number 3. I only talked about number 2.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, I want to get that. So real quick, my number 3 might be a little controversial, but I actually put Lord of the Rings, Two Towers.
Really?
Action fantasy, I guess you could consider it more, I don't know, drama.
The Two Towers one?
Yeah, Two Towers. And I'll tell you why. Battle.
It's a lot of people's are the favorites. Is that one?
Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah, that was excellent.
One of the best war sequences ever in a movie. Like, in fact, I would say since then, I don't think anything has come close. Like that was such
like Gandalf, man.
Yeah, and then like the way Gandalf like comes to save the day, it's just like, damn, like that was a really good like action movie. Like you get to see like all the characters really have good moments, like Legolas obviously being like a ninja elf archer, Gimli being just like the badass, dwarf berserker type and stuff like that. Just
competition between each other.
Yeah, the friendly competition. I still remember like one of the coolest things is that sticks out in my mind was when you had that one like orc suicide bomber that was like charging at that weak point in the wall, and like everybody's trying to shoot it, and he takes a couple arrows, but he's still coming, and he gets through, and like it just breaks open. You just see all the characters of like this battle's lost. Like, right now, this battle is absolutely lost, and it just like goes to shit from there. And then obviously Gandalf comes to save the day. But like to me, that's just awesome action movie.
Yeah, it was great. Mike, number 2.
My number 2 is Die Hard.
Oh, I had that. I predicted that number 1 for you after our conversations at Christmas, but go on.
It could have been number 1. Although my number 1 apparently is controversial according to someone else on this podcast. But no, for me, an action movie is basically just putting people or like even objects in interesting physical situations, and then seeing what happens. And I think that Die Hard does it the best with putting.
Fantastic movie. When I started building my list, I wrote that down first, and then I ended up crossing it off eventually for my top 5. But it was like the first movie I listed.
Jim,
Yes.
I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked right here. I thought that was going to make your top 5. I was waiting for it this whole time.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be number 1 since you haven't mentioned it yet.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But for me, it's right up there because
like Mike is the only one going to have this on his list.
Yeah, I think probably.
Well,
I didn't
have it.
So let Mike go. Let Mike go. Let Mike go. He's talking.
Wow, I'm sorry. I'm shocked.
No, I mean, I just think it's just the most interesting use of like a space in a building. You know, you have your explosions, you have your gunfights, you have your trauma,
that whole
story.
It's like Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard on a train.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is like the prototypical sort of location-based action movie, and I think it's the best one that's done that type of thing pretty much since. Even the later Die Hards, I don't think are as good at pulling off that sort of like intimate sort of like you're trapped in this space, like you need.
It's like the Arkham Asylum of Dark Knight or Arkham games.
Yeah, no, definitely, and so
throw that in there.
So it's definitely my favorite of the Die Hards, and probably 1A maybe, or even one of my favorite action movies. We'll see about my one coming up.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Corey, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Terminator 2.
Okay.
That was, again, one of my favorite movies of all time, actually. Just you guys talked about it before, but the concept of taking the villain of the first movie and then turning him into a good guy and like, wait a second, how do you take this fucking killing machine who's like...
Corey, I'm so mad at you right now because like the whole time we were talking about Terminator 2, nobody mentions that. And I was like, this is like one of the best like plot twists of like taking like a preconceived like...
that's what I loved about it so much.
I know, I'm agreeing with you. It's just like I was waiting to talk about this.
Oh, so. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say too much right now because I'm assuming we're going to hear about it a little more. But just like, what do you do? Like, what kind of villain do you bring in when you take the baddest killing machine of all time, like literally of all time?
Yeah.
So yeah, just to see what they do there, and then the domino effects of all that happening, and turning the character from the first, like the hero character from the first movie, and making her such a badass, and this was awesome too. So, well, I'll probably chime in a little bit more later.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just go. Just go. Just say whatever your heart says. Whatever your heart says. Number 2, go. Number 2, go.
Right,
number 2, go.
Number 2. See that mine's. I think mine's controversial as well, but it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm already picking it. It's already picked. Number 1's already set now. Okay. And this number 2 is one of my favorite movies.
All right.
So I guess it may not. Maybe it doesn't. Thinking more about it, maybe it doesn't qualify as action, but V for Vendetta.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
No.
Interesting. I can see that.
Yeah, it's an action movie.
There's a big explosion. So
no, there's lots of fighting. There's lots of action parts in that. Lots of fight sequences and explosions, and he's awesome.
They do action well. So.
Oh yeah, and exactly. So that was for me, and it's such a big movie for me. I love that. I love watching that movie, and so I was like, action movies. In my mind, that popped in my head right away, and I'm like, but I'm sitting here thinking like, is it really action? I don't know. Maybe I cheesed out on my. That's why I was like, that's helped me pick it to number 2. By the way.
Yeah, no, I would not. I mean, honestly, it's fine. I would not categorize that as action, but myself.
It's a subjective list, like Mike said before, and it's like ultimately, I feel like
wasn't that based on a graphic novel or something? Or am I
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So that was my number 2.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Who's up? Tony.
So my number 2 is Aliens, but I'll just go with my number 1 then. So my number 1, if it wasn't obvious now by Corey's talk, mine was Terminator 2. Okay. I'm glad it made all of the lists.
Yes,
because to me, this is like the iconic movie of the 90s.
It is iconic.
To me, like bar none, this movie will summarize like the 90s. Like if like there was like a future generation, like 1,000 years from now, it's like, oh, what was like the 90s like? In terms of movies, like here you go. Like you just watch this, and that explains everything about the 90s. Because I mean, to me, Arnold Schwarzenegger is like the number 1 action actor.
Hero.
Like, I don't think, yeah, exactly. I don't think you can really dispute that in any capacity, and it's unfortunate because I don't think anybody has even like really attempted, like just been a mere shadow underneath him as a giant. But anyway, I think this movie, like we've said, like just kicks everything up a notch. It's like, hey, here's that first movie. And it was like, you know, don't get me wrong, Terminator 1 was a good movie. But it was like, okay, that's cool. And the Terminator 2,
it's a monster movie, really.
Yeah, it's a monster
movie. It's not even
movie.
like an action movie. It's more of like a monster.
Yeah. And the second one, they just flip it upside down. So, like, just to go over the list of what this movie encompasses. So, like, first of all, there's time travel involved, which already like introduces a level. I know, I hate it. And yes, there's a plot hole behind it, but like the whole fact that you're like, oh, in the first movie, you know, the guy that time travels from the future knocks up, you know, the main character who gives birth to that kid, who grows up in this second movie to be the guy that sends his dad back in time just to die. Like, it's just like, holy shit. Like, that is one of like the biggest plot twists ever. You're like, oh shit. Like, that is like a galaxy brain meme explosion. Like, sending your dad back in time to impregnate your mom so that, you know, but he'll die just so you can exist. It's like just so crazy. And then, like you said, Corey, like taking the villain of the first movie, like that, you know, what T-100 or whatever the model number was.
Yeah.
It's like Arnold model.
T-800,
like, oh, shit.
it might have been T-800.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Whatever it was. And it's just like, damn, like, okay. Mm-hmm. So it's like, huh, interesting. Like, okay, so he's the good guy. And like, I love how the beginning part of the movie, you don't know that. And even when Sarah Connor sees him, she freaks the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was, she went to the
just like flashbacks of like her, like, before
her nightmares. But then you're like, oh, he's a good guy. And like, you know, she's suspicious of him the whole time. But then you're like, T-1000. And like, this is one of the most iconic villains, in my opinion, because it is like one of the perfect representations of the monster. Because it's just like, it's unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable. It just like goes through bullets, like it regenerates. And for the 90s, like that was a really cool effect. I remember like the whole liquid metal thing, just so.
Dude, anytime I saw Mercury, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's a documentary on just how they did that. That's what they did, was like that whole sequence, like 30 minutes of how they made that.
Yeah, it's amazing what James Cameron's like. He's always on that cutting edge of technology, and
he really is. It's just crazy.
It's amazing.
In addition, like in my opinion, one of the best like vehicle chase sequences ever, like with him on the bike and like the truck and everything.
And like how many times I did that with like any gun with like a shotgun, like with the
like that's so iconic.
That sequence, man.
You know, it gave you so many good one-liners. You know, like you said, like
and
Corey,
the monster was like legitimately scary. Like with the sequence where he kills the kid's mom or whatever, the milk thing.
And it's like that one,
and it's just like I remember seeing like a wax like representation of that once, and I was having like a nightmare from that, thinking, oh my god, like what if this is like real and stuff? And it's like that monster, like you said, it just was unstoppable, and like it was truly like a nightmare. Like when you have like the deadliest killing machine of all time, helping you to stop this. Like, what do you have like to like fight it? It's like you just upped your game that much more. And like I didn't realize it could get even worse. Like
exactly. And like the thing that he could morph into these characters, like you couldn't trust anybody. Anything you saw, it's just like that could be him, and like that's scary as shit. But anyway, like it seriously just pumps everything up, and like it introduced the concept, like maybe not introduced because I think another movie probably did it first, but like the whole Skynet, like rising, like the rise of the robots against human creators and stuff like that, which, you know, today is like an obvious like trope, but I think this movie helped really cement that and like inspired a lot of the things that came about. And then even just like the ending sequence, the thumbs up, and, like it just seriously is perfect in multiple ways.
And again, the time travel aspect of it, like they nail the whole like how they make it like understandable in a way that like. You know, time travel is just like, well, I'll just time travel, like whatever, fix everything. But they make it believable and make it understandable and relatable, and it's like, oh shit. And then like you're saying, the
continuity,
not necessarily continuity, but the consequences to the different consequences. Like it's just like all these different things have to play out a certain way for things to happen. It's like Jesus, like, but it all fits together, and like. And it just ends so well too. So,
cool. All right, Mike, we're on number ones now.
My number one, we did mention earlier, and apparently it's controversial, but I chose The Matrix. And I think again, like we talked about that lobby scene. That's my favorite scene personally. I like the kung fu stuff, but I think the lobby scene is just better. That's my favorite scene, and it's a great action movie because of that. Because of
I mean, just the way that ends too, with like the bomb and then they like cutting up and like flying up the elevator. I love that.
Yeah, all of that is fun.
Like the way the doors fly.
But you sort of have the best of both worlds with like the explosion, gunfire action, and then like the physical fighting action. You have a revolutionary camera system to sort of capture all of that, and then you have a better story than I think most of these other movies we mentioned had, in my opinion, at least. So it all came together. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think you have a little bit of everything action-wise in it, and that's why.
I mean that whole concept too, where we just talked about the robots taking over. It's popularized, but like you can make it work. Like it works really well, and they took a different approach to it that I love. I mean, it's so iconic with the screen, the Matrix screens. How many screens
I kind of wish
computers after that.
I kind of wish movies after that, like initially after that, everyone sort of mimicked that, but then everyone decides like, oh, we could just like make everything CGI, so it doesn't even matter. We don't need cameras, and I kind of don't like that as much. I do feel like disconnected when no one is there at all.
You get a perfect example of that with the second movie in the Agent Smith sequence.
Yeah, that fight, it just didn't matter, that fight. Yeah, so I thought it was just the best as far as innovation, story, different types of action, and just like a full movie. Like that's why it's my number one.
Great.
Yeah. I don't think it's controversial. It's just
I mean, if you had a martial arts movie, then I mean that's why.
I think we all had iffy movies on our list.
Yeah, but I'm saying I don't think it's controversial. Like I admit it. Like
there's no controversy as far as like it being a good movie.
No, absolutely not.
Yes. See, that's where you can take solace in that. As long as you didn't mention 2 or 3, just one. Corey, what beat out Terminator 2?
For me, it's John Wick. John Wick is my number one action movie.
Keanu Reeves getting work done on this list.
Yeah, he nailed this role, and like it's funny, like the concept, like, oh, we're gonna make a revenge story about a guy who's like taking revenge on his dead dog. Like,
I mean, that's such a great
2 layers of revenge.
Yeah.
But the action sequences, I love the fact that he is this. They built this world, and it's all implied initially. Like obviously they expand on it in the sequel, but like this implied underworld of assassin killer. Like
I would love to have like a mini series based on this, like HBO or Netflix.
Well, there's a TV show in the works already.
Oh yeah, you're right. I just
the Continental.
Yep.
So like, and just like that whole like the gold coin thing is like one of my favorite things I'll ever. It's like, how much is a gold coin? Like, if you have to ask, like, you don't belong here. It's like, a gold coin can buy like a drink. It can also like,
save your life.
Like 12 bodies or something. It's like, I just love all the different lore aspects of this universe they built, and then they made this character who's this like in this world of killers is this like myth god character that's just unbeatable. And
what do they call him?
It's very anime-esque. I would actually venture to say it's totally like, anime. Like
I love when there's a character that's just so untouchable, and like they're like, and even like with the Terminator and stuff, like there's like a character that's so untouchable like that, and they do a good job with that character to make him.
Usually I hate this trope, but with John Wick it totally works. It's like as soon as it happens at the beginning, you're like, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
fuck
and
all these
he's
guys.
going to kill everybody too. It's like that's what I love, and it's not like, and they do it well. He's not like a douche or dick about it and stuff. Like he's got this humanity to him, and he's got this like flaw where he doesn't want this power, so to speak. But it's like
he tried to retire.
He just wants to like live his life out, but he's forced back into it, and so just everything about the action as well is just so awesome, and the dedication that the actors had to perform these sequences, and again, like real practical effects and stunts it can't be beat.
All right, so my number one is a Bruce Willis movie that you could classify differently, I guess, but it's The Fifth Element.
I debated it too. I really did.
It was,
in my mind, it's an action movie before a sci-fi movie, and it's such amazing action sequences that I'm just like, it needs to be here. I enjoy that more. Bruce Willis's movies wise, that's like I think my favorite from him. I think because I am a sci-fi fan, but I think that's why.
I would agree with you. I like Fifth Element more than I do Die Hard, actually.
Yeah, So
I think it's a much more fun movie to watch for sure.
yeah, it's so fun. You can that's what I like about the action movies. What I try to do with my list was purposely stay away from the 80s and 90s movies as much as possible, because I didn't want to build an 80s and 90s action list. I was like, I want to make what would be my action movie list. Like, yes, there are genre setting movies like Predator, Terminator 2, which still made the list, but Terminator,
well, we haven't mentioned Independence Day, the whole world explosions, like these.
That's on Will Smith.
There's a lot of these setting movies, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Fifth Element for me, I felt like that's where I started my list. I was like, that's number one.
No, so, I totally, it would be up there. Yeah, again, it's one of those where I personally looked at it, I was like, I would throw that in the sci-fi. I'm like personally.
If our list was longer, it would definitely be in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I think for me, if we were going, but the thing for me is we go sci-fi. I'm going to throw in other movies ahead of that. You know what I mean? For me, it's yeah. I mean, because I'm a big sci-fi fan, so it's I'll think Star Trek, I'll think Star Wars, I'll think Last Starfighter, I think. I
want to classify Star Wars as sci-fi though. There's sci-fi elements. I consider it more action, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of classic sci-fi movies I've seen. The Black Hole. There's I'm not going to throw Crow off the list, but
we'll have to do that. Yeah. No, I mean,
Alien you could throw in sci-fi as well.
Yeah.
So, I know. It's just yeah.
But yeah, I put on the list. That was
a lot of blurred lines here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sci-fi comedy with Elvis element.
But yeah, I mean, all the movies that we talk, even if they didn't make I think we can all agree, all these movies are easily worth watching.
Movies. That's what happens. You do top 5, it makes it tough. So what are we doing here for these lists? So Terminator, obviously, I think we have a consensus number 1 with Terminator.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think anybody can argue that because of the amount it made our lists, and number 1 for Tony, number 2 for Corey.
The Matrix and John Wick both got number 1s and a second entry.
Yeah,
Aliens got who else did?
Aliens was 2 and 3.
Well. See, this is where we get into. So the Matrix is between Matrix, Aliens, and John Wick for 2, 3, and 4. I think.
I mean, John Wick, I would put second just because he was higher on your list, and there's 1 and 1 on it was 1 for me, and Mike was 1 with Matrix, but I had Matrix 5 or no 4. I mean,
if you do the averages, it's close. I mean, it's still close. You're splitting hairs here for the Matrix, John Wick, and Aliens as well. I mean, it's a 2, 3 average.
What if we do number 1 was what if we do that one system where it's number 1 gets 5 points, number 2 gets 4 points, number 3 3.
Yeah,
number
we can do that
2. Number 5. I think it's easier to do the math that way.
So it's a 5. It's a 4 and a 3, so that's 7 for Aliens. Matrix is a 5 and a 2, so that's 6 for Matrix.
That's fine.
That's 7.
So we'll have 2s.
Oh, that's it. That's 7. Thank you, Mike, for math. 5 and a 2. And then John Wick is a 3.
John Wick is an 8.
So John Wick is number
2. Okay.
John Wick's number 2.
John Wick is in second. Yeah. I would be fine with Matrix at 3.
Yeah, that's fine.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I would have put that on my list.
Higher than
I would have put Matrix on my list if I didn't remove it via my own personal I put it on the Marshall list.
So we have Aliens,
and then Fifth Element would be the highest one of the ones because
I think it should be in the top 5. I think it should be, even it's a cloudy. Action. I think Fifth Element should be right there. So okay. So
we're not putting Die Hard in the top 5, huh? I should have switched my 1 and 2.
You should have. That's why it matters.
If we put it by the points, it's on the averages. It's Fifth Element's the highest.
Remember the point system for next time, Mike. I'm sorry. I think Fifth
Element to not do it that way would be like the nonsense. That's why people don't get unanimously voted in the MLB Hall of Fame. But
for me, I feel like Fifth Element should be ahead of Die Hard, anyways. In my opinion.
Well, obviously, it's your number 1. You didn't have Die Hard on your list.
So I don't know.
What happens when Die Hard because number 2. So I am shocked that it was not on your list, Jim.
I am really too.
Bourne, Jason Bourne. Which one? Die Hard was 5, but Jason, I think.
I can't believe you like Die Hard more than Bourne. I mean, Bourne more than Die Hard, but
I love the Bourne series. I do like the Jason Bourne series a lot. I think it's a fantastic series, except for the, Jeremy Renner movie and the last Jason Bourne movie. 1, 2, and 3 are great. 2 is okay. 3 is excellent, and so is 1.
I just want to throw out the Transporter. I thought was a good action film. But
one of my honorable mentions was Taken. I had to really think about that. I love Taken, though. The original
Taken.
one.
Oh my god, I forgot about that one. All right, so there's our list. Fifth Element, Aliens, The Matrix, John Wick, and Terminator 2 are our 5 top action movies.
Consensus.
I'll give an honorable mention, please. Don't forget Die Hard.
Yep.
It's kind of funny, real quick, because like at work we had a debate today because I was coming up with my list and I was like, just talk about like Terminator 2 is a must watch, and like my friend Alex, and she's like, I don't think it's a must watch. I've never seen it. I was like, you've never seen Terminator 2? And like the whole day was like polling people as like they walked by or had meetings or phone calls. It was like, have you seen Terminator 2? It was just really fun.
Wow,
we took like a poll.
All right. So I think that's going to wrap up the movie cast. Write us podcast at allyoucangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allyoucangeek. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe to this channel if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, please. Thanks for listening. Let us know what you think of our list, your list.
What list you want us to do next?
Very controversial.
That,
So tune in next. Tune into the Gamecast. Tune in next week. Thanks for listening.